Hey there, I'm Hellbent. I'm here to learn you suspiciously amazing facts that I didn't just make up. Schoolyard fun. Schools have often been at the forefront of crazy bans, with overprotective adults seeking to protect kids from all the perceived evils out there. Unfortunately, protection measures have gotten increasingly out of hand as schooling environments and society at large succumbs to political correctness. Underestimating young people and dictating what's appropriate for them usually has disastrous results, but no one seems to have picked up on this yet. For example, because students were getting too hurt at recess, Port Washington Middle School has banned all ball games and rough play. This prohibits kids from playing football, soccer, baseball, lacrosse, or rough tag. Cartwheels are only permitted if supervised by a coach. At this stage, cloud watching is okay, but stay tuned for further developments. A private school in London has banned having best friends. The headmaster says that the concept is possessive and ostracizes those who aren't included. I wonder what his take on marriage is. I'm sure many feel ostracized that Megan Fox has excluded them from her union. Preschool has urged parents to ban their kids from watching superhero movies. Apparently, superhero stories invoke violence and instill questionable morals. So, wait, haven't they been teaching us bravery and how to stand up for what's right? Finally, several American schools have banned hugging and hand-holding. Suspensions have already been issued over these offenses. In fact, Tennessee State Senate recently passed a bill naming hand-holding as a gateway sexual activity. Parents, don't let your kids get in on any of this sweet hand-holding action. Yeah. You know what, it actually sounds kind of bad when I say it. The Siri 2011 image shows an old man taking a stroll and somehow bending the fabric of time and space, appearing in two places at once. Fortunately, it was just an error in the Google Street View that showed him in two different points in his journey. There's no glitch in the Matrix. No glitch in the Matrix. Glitch in the Matrix. Matrix. Number 22. Immortalized in this image is a dehydrated and possibly ill or hurt cow, dragging himself a two-lane highway to the dilapidated area of town.
Danger Dolan. Danger Dolan. Danger Dolan. Help me.
This is another image that's been warped into something quite twisted by a Google Street View glitch. I'm sure you don't need this pointed out, but the woman has strange, unnatural velociraptor-like legs. I like to think she also communicates with dinosaur noises. I wonder if she's single. This is definitely one of Google's cooler glitches, and it sort of looks like a trick mirror at a carnival. In this Google Earth image, we see irrefutable proof that UFOs exist. Okay, so apparently some have gone on to prove it's just a photo of an oddly shaped building shot from above, but still, this offers irrefutable proof that buildings exist. A drunken Mississippi dad named Billy Joe Madden let his 8-year-old son drive their car on the interstate so he could have a nap. Madden's 4-year-old daughter was also sitting in the back seat without a seatbelt, of course. Passing drivers noticed the boy at the wheel and quickly notified the authorities. The country fried moron, who would definitely take last place in a Dad of the Year pageant, received multiple charges, and his kids were temporarily placed into the care of child welfare authorities. Reports indicate that he done did enjoy his nap. Don't you hate it when a sentence doesn't end the way you think it, Octopus? Yeah, I also hate it when a grammar doesn't complete a sentence and makes a lack of sense in pterodactyl. I'm guessing this entry's a meme or something, but really, I don't think I've ever come across a sentence that ends in such an absurd banana. Can a human get an animal pregnant? I don't think so. I know I've attempted with a variety of animals, including pigs, hippos, crocodiles, and koalas. I'm guessing the people that Googled this didn't pay too much attention during their high school biology classes. Wait, they covered that in high school biology? We dissected frogs in my class, we didn't fuck them. Well, I mean, the teacher might have, he's kind of a lonely guy. But I mean, how could you blame him? Them frogs just floating in them jars, looking all sexy and naked. Number 15. You smell like a baby prostitute. Oh, kids these days. I swear it was yesterday that we were complaining about how tweens dress, and now we got baby prostitutes with their distinctive smell all up in this place. But seriously, I can't even comprehend why anyone would search this particular phrase. It's a little bit more than disturbing. I think the creepiest thing is that I can't tell if it's phrased like an insult or a compliment. I'll have to try this one out on single moms in the supermarket. Hey honey, you smell like a baby prostitute.
Oh, Hellbent, you so smooth. Jump in my big old vagina.
Help, I accidentally pooped on my boyfriend. I think we've all been there every now and again. You're sitting on the toilet, then all of a sudden you realize it's actually your boyfriend's chest. Very awkward. God damn, the writer's just building a giant quote mine against me here. This shit's gonna show up in court one day. Yes, Your Honor, we have proof that Hellbent likes to poop on his boyfriends when he's not fucking dolphins. That is, when he ain't spreading mayonnaise on the children's. No, it was Google autocomplete. I swear it wasn't me. I love children. I mean, not like that. Your Honor, let it be put on the record that Hellbent loves children. Batman water pistol. Take a standard Batman licensed water pistol, add several pinches of cringe including sexual innuendo, and you have the Batman water pistol. Filling this bizarre water pistol involves taking a plug out of Batman's rectum and aligning his backside with the nearest faucet. But wait, if you're ready to get wet, Batman requires a couple more steps. Just give him a quick reach around and presto, he shoots water out of his mouth, just like the TV show. Remember that time Batman stuck a water hose up his butt and spat all over the Joker's face? 'Cause I don't. In fact, the creator is unknown, but I'm holding Robin responsible. It sounds like something he'd do. I mean, there was a villain called Toymaker, but I think this particular contraption's below his standards. But hey, if you're not a Batman fan, don't worry about it. It also comes in Popeye flavor. Well, blow me down. Toot toot. Number 13. The Avenging Narwhal playset. For the aspiring marine biologist in your life, I give you the Avenging Narwhal playset. Avenging Narwhal playset, we're gonna teach you about Mother Nature. It comes with 4 magical tusks and 3 adorable cutesy-wootsy cuddly animals to impale. Some may think that the impaling thing is gruesome, but can you really think of a better way to teach kids about the food chain? Wait a second, why did they include a koala? Did I miss something? Are koalas a narwhal's natural prey? Thinking about it, I could totally see a koala stoned out of his mind on gum leaves falling into the ocean where a sinister narwhal lies in wait.
Welcome to my world, bitch.
Appendix. The appendix is a small pouch found between the small and large intestines. It once played a role in digestion, as primitive humans ate largely plant-based diets. This narrow muscular tube helped the large intestine digest cellulose. It was also thought to produce small amounts of white blood cells. Nowadays, our diets consist mostly of KFC and other animal proteins, so the appendix has been made redundant, like disc-based media. It's like the MySpace of your digestive system. It's there, but it doesn't really need to exist anymore. Though that is putting it nicely. If your appendix becomes inflamed and infected, it can cause appendicitis and rupture. So in addition to being useless, it's also a ticking time bomb. MySpace is useless and DVDs are obsolete, but at least they don't kill 300,000 Americans a year like the appendix does. If you try hard enough, you can still sell a DVD player, but nobody on the black market's gonna buy an appendix. I say that, but there's probably somebody out there that really wants another appendix, and it's probably for reasons that we don't want to know. Appendectomy scars are so hot. Subclavius muscle. This small muscle stretches under the shoulder from the first rib to the collarbone. It plays a small role when we depress our shoulders, but it would be a lot more useful if humans still walked on all fours. Interestingly, some people have one subclavius muscle, others have none, and a few overachievers have 2. Clearly, this is a non-essential muscle if so many get by without it, but I still kinda want to check to see if I have 2 just for bragging rights. Hey baby, you ever seen a guy with 2 subclaviuses? I can depress my shoulders all night. Safe zone. Speaking of places without volcanoes, most volcanoes develop near the edges of tectonic plates, which are the massive rock slabs that make up the Earth's surface. There are no active volcanoes in Australia because it's situated in the middle of a tectonic plate. Oi, you're safe here, so come on over, mate. We'll chuck the bobby on. Didgeridoo and kangaroos too. Nailed it. They'll never know I'm an American. Can I get some Vegemite for my hamburger? Fuck. Look, I was just trying to get somewhere safe, and what are you doing with those dingoes? No, not the dingoes! Dingoes! Galvanization is just another term for zap the shit out of that body, which he did as he did to Natalie Dolan. Where were you in September 2008? Were you announcing the auction of your virginity on the Howard Stern show? 22-year-old Natalie Dolan was. Natalie held her virginity auction on the Moonlight Bunny Ranch website and was planning to consummate it at the ranch. Natalie was a recent women's studies graduate from Sacramento State and claimed she was planning to use the money to finance graduate school. She said she was being pro-choice with her body and that she felt empowered. Several bids exceeded $1 million and the highest one came in at $3.8 million. What the fuck's wrong with these people? people. No fucking wonder she felt empowered. They weren't fucking her, she was fucking them out of $3.8 million. Natalie fucked him real good. She got $250,000 from an Australian high roller who placed a deposit before backing out to reconcile with his ex-wife. So she got $250,000 and didn't even have to get fucked. That's empowerment right there. I don't even feel bad for the rich guy. He placed a deposit on somebody's virginity. Not only is that creepy as fuck, but it's fucking stupid. Natalie's the most successful hooker of all time. She got the money, she didn't get fucked, and now she's out of the game. She's fine. She's got her virginity. Everything's good for Natty. And the guy she fucked out of his money got his ex-wife back, so everybody's happy. Everything worked out for everyone. Natalie Dolan is a true American hero. Stanford Prison. What happens when you take a bunch of students and play prison down in the psych building's basement? A bunch of fucked up shit. Stanford University conducted an experiment to observe the psychological behaviors of students acting as guards and prisoners. Turns out giving students just a teeny tiny bit of imaginary power turns them into complete sadists. But who could have seen that coming? Frats and sororities treat each other so well. 2 students were removed for suffering psychological trauma, and eventually the experiment was deemed too fucked up for such a fancy pants university.
They were so mean. It was so horrible. It's like the time my mom took my cell phone away. Like, oh my god, I totally know how Aunt Frank feels now.
Wrestling. No, Billy, don't look. We're just practicing our wrestling moves, okay? We're practicing our special move, and we don't need anybody to know about this. If our enemy knows about it, they're gonna know our special move and we're gonna lose, so don't tell anyone, okay? Seriously though, unless you want your kids to see that kind of thing, you might want to invest in a lock on your door, or maybe just check to see if they're asleep before you get all kinky and shit. Also, does his dad really call his partner bitch? Man, his parents are savage. They just go right at it. Take it, bitch, take it. I want the kids to hear it. Dancing on Mummy's grave.
Mummy and Daddy have had so many disagreements over the years, but now that she's gone, I hope that we can be civil about our past ordeals. Or instead, we could just dance on that bitch's grave because she was such a horrible person who couldn't do anything right. I mean, she refused to wrestle with Daddy that one time, and that's why she had to go.
I'm kind of interested to see if I offended the English or the rednecks more. Atheism. If you're not with us, then you're against us. This line of thinking has no logical flaws whatsoever, so it's no surprise that when this kid found out that his teacher doesn't believe in Jesus, they immediately assumed that they would go to hell. But in all seriousness, how does this kid even know that their teacher's an atheist? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this teacher probably wears a fedora with pride and euphoria. If any of you children can actually prove that Jesus existed, I'll give you an A+ for the whole year.
Teacher, aren't we supposed to be learning math?
Now let me tell you about a person who actually existed, Christopher Hitchens. You uncultured little shits. I did not get my SpaghettiOs. I got spaghetti. I want the press to know this. Ah, the old last meal tradition. You spend years locked away fantasizing about steak, lobster, and SpaghettiOs. Sometimes you just can't beat the taste of canned pasta. At least that was the key thing on Thomas Grasso's mind when he was being led to death, and boy was he angry when the guard served him plain old spaghetti. Of course, the most reasonable thing to do with your last breath is to complain about your food. Don't apologize for strangling an old lady with her Christmas lights. That's no big deal. Never fuck with SpaghettiO time. I'll be in hell before you start breakfast, boys. Let her rip! Sometimes it's not the words themselves that are creepy, but what happens after they're said that makes all the difference. That's what happened to Tom Ketchum, who was hung for trying to catch 'em all. Rob a train. Tom was eager to face the Reaper. A little too eager, it seems, as the rope cleanly sliced through his neck, putting him on the express track to hell. The decapitated body spurted blood all over and gave a new ironic meaning to Tom's last words, but hey, it's nothing to lose your head over, guys, right? Right? They'll never find the Charizard cards. Pedophile fanfiction. Ah, the joys of erotic fanfiction, inserting yourself into your favorite show and banging your favorite characters. But maybe if your favorite show is Toddlers and Tiaras, you might want to dial it down a bit. No, don't dial down the age, dial up the age. Bang the mom on Home Improvement or something. I haven't seen her in a while, but it's still better than Toddlers and Tiaras. One deep web explorer came back with a certified nope when they stumbled upon a forum of people posting their own fanfiction about having sex with children from TV shows. The one that the poor soul had read was about a man writing himself as a a coach on a reality show about toddler beauty pageants doing unspeakable things to the contestants, and I thought my Scooby-Doo fanfiction was bad. I'm at least 90% sure Velma's 18, and if she's not, she is in my fanfiction. Michael Jordan Fitness Fun Range. McDonald's has a long history of responding to health critics with lazily conceived health promotions. This Michael Jordan's Fitness Fun Happy Meals promotion was one of many examples. In 1991, the restaurant offered cheap plastic skipping ropes, plush balls, water bottles, and stopwatches with the basketball superstar's likeness in an attempt to shed the company's unhealthy image. Jordan once played pro baseball, but the impractically small plush footballs had exactly nothing to do with him. Nothing on the actual menu changed, but I'm sure some kids used their lame-o stopwatches to stage some epic cheeseburger eating contests. First one to get diabetes gets a 42-ounce Coke. Come on, Timmy, slam those cheeseburgers just like Air Jordan. Ronald McDonald Mask. Another lazy offering from the Mickey's House of D, this extremely creepy Happy Meal toy was basically just a piece of cardboard with a vague resemblance to Ronald McMascot. Great for kids that want to make their own horror short films, but everyone else probably could have done without the additional McNightmares. They all McFlow down here. Stephanie Faye Cohen. A woman who says she's visited all sorts of planets and UFOs with her various alien guides also claims that she's gotten visited with several extraterrestrial species. Cohen says the aliens usually visit her in her sleep, and out of the reptilian, feline, gray, and even octopus species she's encountered, her spirit lover happens to be an octopus named Ian. The sexy space adventures take place while Cohen sleeps, insisting that the dreams are actually real events. Cohen claims that her associates, like her cat alien grandmother, are often walking among us and visible to most eyes. You know, that would explain Shima. Number 3. Nuclear warfare. As if guns and explosives weren't killing enough people, the US government decided in 1945 that they wanted to use nuclear bombs. President Truman permitted the most devastating decision in the history of all wars, to build and use nuclear missiles. The atomic bomb that the US forces dropped on Japan instantly killed 80,000 people. That single atom bomb is reported to have destroyed hundreds of thousands of lives over several generations. Today, it's estimated that over 16,000 nuclear weapons are active in the world, mostly in America and Russia. Honestly, I'm not too afraid of them blowing up the world. If they blow up all of us, who are they gonna rule over? A pile of rubble? That's not as fun. Rubble doesn't cry when you threaten to blow it up. Busted burglary. A bungling burglar called the police after becoming trapped inside of the dollar store she was trying to rob. Ugh, geez, where do I start with this one? Well, why not break a window to get out? You're already robbing the place. Is vandalism beneath you or something? I kinda doubt it, cause you're robbing the fucking dollar store. What kind of loot did you expect to get? A bunch of off-brand cat food and some plastic toys that'll melt in the fucking sun? Why not just go to the mall and steal a pair of sunglasses or something? The value of those is worth more than a whole bag of loot from the fucking dollar store. And I know I keep saying it's the dollar store lot, but it bears repeating, it's the fucking dollar store. You know how thin their overhead is? You're literally stealing from a place that can barely afford to pay its own fucking rent. So, you know, I guess it's a good thing you didn't break the window, because it may put the fucking place out of business. Anyhow, this dumbass was charged with burglary and criminal trespass. I don't even think they should put her in jail. What's she gonna do, break into another fucking dollar store and get stuck? Just poke her with a pen and say you installed a crime chip on her that detects when she commits any crime, and she probably wouldn't do shit. Hey, but you know what? I'm getting a little bit too excited. This is just number 3 on the list. It gets worse.
Where can I find fairies?
If you were to steal one of your friend's favorite dolls and brush its hair and carry it around with you everywhere, ignoring the people who judge you, eventually a magical fairy will visit you while you're sleeping. Don't get your hopes up, though. Their beauty can be exaggerated. Ugh. No.
Fairies can be found throughout folk belief, ranging from a tiny but hidden away people to even spirits of the dead. Unfortunately, real-world fairies are more likely to be found in the invisible to the naked eye microscopic world, along with bacteria, fungi, and algae. Yoink!
Hey!
Trade ya?
I guess. Viagra. Even that little blue pill that makes your grandfather able to have sex was an accident. At least I hope there was never a lab devoted to giving grandpa a boner. That'd be a weird place to work. Pharmaceutical company Pfizer discovered the pill while testing out a medication for high blood pressure called UK92480. The medication was useless for treating high blood pressure, but test subjects noticed a different kind of pressure going on.
I'm talking about erections and their peepees. Don't tell grandma. Or yeah, go tell grandma.
Noticing the pattern, Pfizer realized they had a magical erection pill on their hands. Ironically, one of the side effects of Viagra actually is heart attacks. Kinda gives the impression they're just throwing random shit up against the wall to see if it sticks. 3 testicles. A young man recently took to Reddit to show off his trio of treasures. The 18-year-old suffers from a rare condition known as polyorchidism, which means he has 3 testicles. There have been less than 200 reported cases of it throughout history. Due to the delicate nature of his condition, he has to be very careful not to cause his overcrowded sac any unnecessary trauma. Other than that, the condition is mostly free of negative symptoms, so doctors haven't deemed it necessary to remove one of the testicles. The kid seems to love the novelty of his condition. He even has nicknames for his balls: Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. I would have gone with Chico, Harpo, and Groucho, but to each his own. Ocelot in the cat box. If you've never heard of an ocelot, you're probably not alone. They're like a wild, bigger cousin of the house cat that may go extinct. In an attempt to remedy this, scientists have started trying to introduce ocelot DNA into the common house cat. But how would one do this? Well, in one experiment, they blasted a male cat's testicles with x-rays to kill off all the cat's sperm. Then they injected an ocelot sperm into the cat's testicles, forming cells into the poor cat's sac. Then after a few weeks, presto, the mutilated tomcat was successfully producing ocelot sperm. Not quite sure how the house cat's gonna fuck the ocelot, but hey, science finds a way, maybe like a little kitty cat stepladder. Who am I kidding? They're gonna extract it, and then they're gonna inject it. Thanks a lot, science. I really needed that mental image. Gender-bent hens. This one might ruin your breakfast, or it might make it better if you're a fucking weirdo. Scientists have discovered how to manipulate a female chicken's biology so they produce sperm instead of eggs. Gonna go out on a limb and assume those aren't the egg whites you're looking for. High in protein though, if you just gotta get that protein in you real quick. But let's get off of that topic and never think about it again. Let's move on to how it works. With some chemical manipulation, scientists fiddle about with the hen's sex hormones, and when she matures, she has fully functioning testicles that produce sperm. Why would you do this? Great question. I have no idea. Number 3. Goat hamster. For reasons I'd rather not have explained to me, scientists were fooling around in a lab one day and decided to try to mix goat jizz with hamster eggs. Thankfully, not much happened, not even when they tried to strip away the egg's outer layer. Then they thought, why not chuck the goat gravy into a pig's uterus to see if that made a difference? So that's kind of what they did. They took a bunch of goat cum and put it into a dead pig's uterus. Now understand, this step was vital because, never mind, it's just fucked up. Maybe they had a surplus of dead pigs and goat cum and they just didn't want them to go to waste? That's literally the best case scenario I can think of here. Just what the fuck kind of lab was this anyways? Well, shock and horror aside, it totally worked. The goat gravy was ready to accept the hamster's eggs as their home. Nothing happened after that because even embryos aren't dumb enough to think a goat hamster creature would work. But hey, it's just the beta phase, get some monkey brains, some virgin blood, maybe an orphan soul. If you can get your hands on one of those, probably got one laying around.
Video Master Matt03 asks, is it possible that the world could end at any second now?
Absolutely. When you have people like Hellbent risking everyone's life with his constant smoking, being a total renegade rascal. Watch out!
Johanna Maldonado asks, how are air and smoke different?
Let's ask an expert, shall we?
Well, air gives life to pretty much every animal and plant around, whereas smoke comes from cigarettes and they're harmful to your health. Also, they give you cancer, so you should probably avoid them. I can smoke them though, cause I'm an adult and a horrible person. When you're a kid or a very tragic adult, everyday machines can seem like they run on absolute magic, which means you're pretty much begging to be lied to by your parents. Getting kids to snap on those little belts that keep your skull from being embedded into the roof of your car during an accident is difficult. But while kids have almost no concept of death or danger, they do understand the concept of time. Just tell the little suicidal brats that the car won't start unless everyone's wearing their seatbelts. And if they still believe it when they're 16, don't bother saving up for a car. They're gonna be living at home for a long time. Hope you like anime. Oh, buck up, Buttercup. We'll come back another day. Anyone who's been dragged out of a playground or a toy store knows the pain of this clear bullshit, used by parents to get kids away from whatever fun things currently happening in front of them. We've all been told we'd come back sometime in the future. But the truth is, they have no damn intention of coming back to that place because they hate fun! I'll remember this when you don't want to go to the old folks' home. We'll come back another day. Yeah, we promise. Just like you did. Unless your idea of comedy is being roasted alive by lava, there's nothing all that funny about volcanic eruptions. It's pretty much just liquid hot death and destruction. And maybe dingoes. Still, on April 1st, 1974, Alaskan man Porky Biggar thought it'd be hilarious to scare his neighbors by simulating an eruption. He secretly threw hundreds of old tires into the crater of the nearby dormant volcano, Mount Edgecumbe. Clouds of black smoke poured from the crater and everyone in town was scared shitless, fearing an eruption. Eventually, it came out that the whole thing was a hoax. And amazingly, the townspeople didn't throw Porky in there as payback. But they did think he was responsible when another volcano, Mount St. Helens, erupted 6 years later. Come on, Porky, didn't your mother ever teach you not to cry wolf or throw fucking tires into volcanoes? Number 6. On April 1st in the year 2000, a company called Sport to Health Clubs unveiled a revolutionary new weight loss product called Fat Socks. These magical socks promise to suck body fat out of sweating feet and banish fat forever. Yes, so long, cankles! Naturally, the target demographic rejoiced. Sure, all the quick fix solutions before this failed horribly, but this one, Fat Socks, this is gonna work. Forget taking a walk now and again or knocking off the sodas, it's all about the Fat Socks. The Fat Socks are the answer. Now pass the McNuggets, I got all this fat to burn off. I love you, Fat Socks. Almost as much as mac and cheese. Alright, you know what, that was a little bit mean, even by my standards, and I'm a horrible person. That being said, I'm not nearly as mean as Professor Frank Ellis Elgood, who made some sciencey claims about the magic material fluoroastratetrazine. Of course, it was all bullshit and just a joke for April 1st, but damn, that's pretty cruel. As if easily fooled overweight people didn't have it hard enough. I think they should rename it to Asshole Day. Not to be confused with escorts, professional snugglers or platonic companions who cuddle strangers for money. Professional snugglers make around $60 an hour for spooning, conversation, and emotional intimacy. Their cuddle-depraved clientele is mostly made up of people who feel unworthy of physical intimacy. For example, those suffering depression, social anxiety, abuse victims, and those with disabilities or physical disfigurements. It's an unusual job with a sexual stigma, but hey, everybody needs a good cuddle sometimes. Not me though. Cuddle my butt. Alright, are we done with that one? Good. Come here, Mr. Fluffy. I'm gonna cuddle you so much. Oh, I love you so much. You're a good Mr. Fluffy. Countless ads promise they can deliver men bigger and better erections, and also make their cocks bigger. But the survey's in, and guys with big flutes don't always hit those high notes. If your man meat is really large, you're gonna have a harder time hitting the G-spot during sex because, as my sister Sue would put it, come on, Nana, you're rolled in too deep, boy. Not sure what the writer was implying there, but hey, I don't write the scripts or fuck my sister. I just read them and, don't fuck them. Anyways, the G-spot is a mere 2 inches into the vagina, so guys sporting a 9-inch are just gonna be stabbing into the cervix. So fellas, women aren't gonna be dissatisfied if your gherkin isn't huge. I don't know, unless they got some kind of freakishly deep vagina. That might be an issue. But either way, studies shown that women are more about girth than length. But if that's also an issue for you, just find a woman with a tiny vagina and just thread that needle. Men think about sex every 7 seconds? What are they like, a bunch of bawdy animals that just learned how to put on pants? Sounds like a rumor spread from somebody who's a little bit into themselves.
Oh my god, Vanessa, look at all them. They're staring at me like they want to fuck me.
As it turns out, most men think about sex far less frequently than they get credit for. Some studies say it's about 20 times a day, other studies say it's more like a couple of times a day. Moral of the story is it's not really possible to think about anything every 7 seconds because it'd be interrupting all the other stuff they think about like sports, food, boobs, and sleep. I mean books. Fuck it. You know, thinking about boobs isn't necessarily sex. I could be thinking about how good those boobs make that t-shirt look. Why can't people be happy just pissing in a good old-fashioned urinal? Why do they have to complicate life by pissing into vintage trombones?
Using a toilet is so mainstream. I prefer pissing into brass instruments because it's different and unique. That doesn't make me weird. I'm just ahead of the times. You don't understand. If you were cool like I am, you'd get it. Really, it's just political commentary on the jazz scene.
Nothing would spoil your appetite like being photobombed by a terrifying old gypsy woman. But that's exactly what happened when these two friends caught up at a diner. The old woman's eyes seemed to reach right through the camera lens and peer into your soul. She needs to pick older targets. You know, kids these days, their souls are full of social media garbage. It's like looking at somebody's Facebook profile. Boring.
Yes, I've looked deep into your soul and I see dank memes and repost. Oh, why even bother cursing you? Your life's already terrible.
Perverts rejoice. This innovative machine lets you purchase filthy panties without being judged. I know, you've probably heard of this one already. But even after all these years, this is still the king of crazy vending machines. It would be a miscarriage of justice to rob this of the #1 spot. There is some debate over how used these panties are, but beggars can't be choosers. If people had better sources for these unique items, the machines wouldn't exist. Not quite sure where the demand for dirty panties comes from, but if it makes people happy and stops them from breaking into homes to satisfy their panty fetish, then it's alright. At least I can't think of any way this would harm people, unless you thought they were new panties and put them on. That'd be kinda disappointing. But hey, more power to them. If I could make a living doing it, I'd sell my washing machine and stank out a crate of panties every day. I don't know, then again, I am on this show. Maybe we could put them on the Planet Dolan shop. Who wants to buy Hellbent's panties?
Almighty Doggy asks, what caused the great dying extinction?
Smoking them cigarettes. Give me that Hellbent. These things are gonna kill you. Look, I'm doing this for your own good, alright? Well, jeez, that was needlessly aggressive.
Hellbent!
Astral11 asks, can people be illegally blind?
Well, actually, yes. It says here under Section 16, Proposition A, that if a person isn't precisely 3/4 cross-eyed, they're not legally blind, and they can and will be arrested for doing life wrong.
Seriously?
What? My magazine? I got more if you want one. I'm not selfish.
So, Hellbent, have you tried, doing a good job voicing the script? There's a little thing. It's called, enthusiasm. You use it to not put your audience to sleep. Try not being bad at this.
Okay, enthusiasm. Got it.
Yellin Lover 1000 asks, if stars are formed by a gas, then where does gas come from?
From the butt! From the stinky butt! God's butt! Literally, God's rectum created our universe with a fart! A stinky fart!
I think you're taking what we said way too...
Huge, stinky farts!
Anyway, most, if not all, of the stars that currently exist are made up from the remains of dead stars, but the plasma and gas that made up the first stars came from the Big Bang. As for where the Big Bang comes from, we don't really know.
I love my job! Woo! Enthusiasm! Despite being incarcerated for murder and having a really goofy name, Joran Vandersloot had more than his fair share of groupies. Where's this asshole from, fucking Neptune? I am Joran Bandasloot. Take me to your women! Anyways, this guy gets hundreds of letters and received at least 2 serious marriage proposals. Joran is serving a 28-year sentence in Peru for the murder of Stephanie Ramirez. He's also a major suspect in the disappearance and presumed murder of Alabama teen Natalie Holloway. Wow, what a dick. I don't really feel bad for making fun of his name now. Interestingly, Natalie was reported as missing 5 years to the day before Stephanie was murdered, which, as the French would say, is fucking suspicious. Oh wait, he's French? I still don't believe it, he's gotta be Neptunian. Joran Bandasloot! Once you're done binding and gagging your significant other, why not force feed them some naughty S&M chocolates? But how is that dirty, you might be thinking? Well, my friend, they don't just melt in your mouth. You know, that might be one of the most disgusting things I've said here. I'm not sorry. That's not an Oreo! That's my original cookie Boreo! People really need to get their facts straight! My cookie has a chocolate crunch with a creamy center. Oreos are nothing like that. Wrigley's Doberman chewing gum. They transpose the L and the I. How on earth do you even do that? They're in 2 different words, although I guess the spacing would have you believe otherwise. Makes me wonder if that's even chewing gum in that packet. It could be anything. Thank to you for watching this counted down. I will see you next team. Much please let know down in comments which marvelous product you would want to imbibe in your mouth. In China, you better not be planning on getting reincarnated without supplying the proper paperwork. This ban was an attempt to pull rank on those rebel Tibetan monks and force them to recognize the Chinese government as the boss of them. But if someone doesn't see you as their boss, I doubt demanding paperwork from them is gonna make them take you more seriously.
Excuse me, Mr. Reincarnated Person. I need you to file these tax returns. Your past life owed a little bit of... Hey, where are you going? No, don't go into the mountain. You're just gonna sit... Well, fine,
Yeah, auditing a Tibetan monk. I'm sure that's gonna go really far. Yes, we'll take your gourd, we'll take your walking stick and your robe, and oh, you don't have any other worldly possessions? Oh, well, yeah, you don't have any worldly possessions now because you just got owned! Maybe I'm not understanding their religion quite right, but taking away worldly possessions from a Buddhist is kinda doing them a favor, isn't it? This ban was an attempt to pull ranks.
At times like these, it's nice to have fun, but you'll always have someone shutting that fun down.
You're 3 times more likely to get a virus on your computer from a religious website than from a porn website. It's like the opposite of real life. You're much more likely to get a virus from a hooker than from going to church. Well, you know, depending on the church anyways. Old Betty takes out her false teeth and bam, she's a filthy girl. Anyways, it was found a few years ago that religious sites were being targeted more frequently and didn't have the safeguards in place that porn sites do. Though porn sites still had malware and nasty shit, it's just nowhere near as much as the site your grandma might be on. It's just like how statistically there are less STIs in the porn industry than in the general population. When you deal in sex in this millennium, you're safer. Don't waste your time on couples counseling. Just burn a cross in the yard and blame the KKK to save your marriage. Now, if that sounds dumb as hell to you, then congratulations, you aren't L.B. Williams. Fearing his wife was going to leave him, he decided to pull out the old burning cross to scare his wife into staying. Why would that scare her? Well, the couple was interracial, so along with that cross came a lovely note saying, "You better not leave that n***." Which, when you think about it, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why would the KKK want to keep an interracial couple together? I guess he realized the flaw in the logic there, because he didn't stick to the plan long and confessed to the bizarre act of love. Which is kinda sad. It'd be nice if the KKK went around and tried to keep couples together. The Couples Counseling Club. You know, spelled with K's instead of C's to keep it cute and, stick with their branding. You know, no matter how hard I try, I can't make this entire thing work. That's just a fucking stupid plan. We've all made lazy meals before. You know, where you just slap a few ingredients together and call it a dish. But this is a whole new level of laziness. The chef didn't even try to give a fuck. I mean, I get it. You work with what you got. You got some cheap-ass American cheese that has no flavor and some pasta, so you try to mix them together. But the whole mixing them together thing was too much for this person. Let's just dump a bunch of cheap cheese on there. Here you go. Enjoy your macaroni and fuck it! What's that? You want dessert? Oh, I got this cup of water and some sweetener. Here you go. Everything's fine. Life is great. This really is the culinary equivalent of a complete mental breakdown. I'm not even sure if those noodles are cooked. They may just be slightly heated. You know how some people say this dish was made with love? This was made with a crippling existential crisis. Ah, what is life? The Great Gatsby, a timeless book and a horrifying failure in cake form. F. Scott Fitzgerald's famous novel has had some very interesting artistic interpretations over the years, but this one definitely takes the cake. Get it? 'Cause it's cake. My soul died a decade ago. Maybe it was made for a Gatsby-themed party, but for whatever reason, someone thought it'd be a great idea to take an ugly book cover and make it into an even more terrible-looking cake. Hey, at least they nailed the font. I welcome death.
Hey there! My name is Doopy, and I'll be reading out the questions and answers.
I'm Hellbent, and I'm here to do whatever it is that I do. I don't even know anymore.
Is that really the best you could do?
Who said that? Is that you, God?
I'm Doopy, the co-host? I mean, I literally just introduced myself.
You're God? Holy crap, I'm reading a script with God!
Lady Sunset 494 asks, if the ocean wasn't salty, what would happen?
Many different species of plants and animals will die out due to their absence from their natural environment, including whales that are so endangered, apparently. My solution, drink sports drinks and pee the salt back into the ocean.
Yes, many species would absolutely die out if we took all the salt out of the ocean. Not only that, but the amount of salt in the water is enormous and we really don't have anywhere to put it. Assuming we never had salty oceans to begin with, we'd have completely different types of life, if any at all. As life as we know it depends on salt as a building block. Hellbent, that thing you peed into, that wasn't the ocean, that was a pool. With children in it.
Ugh, gross, it's all over me!
Alex N asks, is there any way to bring back an extinct species?
No. Once things die, they stay dead, like they damn well should. I mean, look at this stupid hairy elephant. How is it supposed to survive in hot-ass Africa or India? Wait, I've got an idea.
Why did you think that would work?
Hey, I did my part, now give it CPR.
Ew. No?
You know what your problem is? You're selfish.
It's definitely possible with the use of cloning, but we haven't done it yet as cloning animals is actually pretty difficult. But one of the biggest problems being that we can't just grow a baby in a test tube. We need to put it in a womb or egg of some kind, and most extinct animals just aren't compatible with what's currently alive. So, why is your pee black?
Magic.
Pretty sure black pee is a sign of a rare disease. Or cancer.
Pretty sure that you're a disease.
Seriously? That's barely an insult.
Hey, it was great! Everything I say is great! Eat my... Human hair is actually one of the most insanely sought after items, and not just for balding men. Wig makers love to use real human hair because it drives up the sale price astronomically. Because if I need a wig, damn it, I'm not putting horsehair on my precious fucking head! Find me someone who can afford hair conditioner and shave them bald! Anyways, this demand means that people are growing out their hair simply to cut it and send the waste away for cold hard cash. People with waist-length hair can make around $4,000 for their chopped off locks. which has made it so valuable that people are breaking into hair salons to steal hair. I wonder if they accept pubes. I could get them like a liter of pubes in 6 months. Look, I'm no sports ball expert, but even I know this drawing of Derek Jeter could use a little bit more work. Apparently, it's supposed to be the famous Yankees baseball shortstop, but it looks like a drawing done by a criminal sketch artist who took the day off and let their little nephew fill in for the day. He looks like he's just seen some kind of horrific event and he's trying to warn me. Get away, get away, get away! Number 9. Apparently, Kendall Jenner is famous for being famous, which is probably why some person decided to submit their absolutely breathtaking drawing of her online. I have no idea how somebody with this facial structure would talk. Something like this. I'm Kendall Jenner. It also kind of looks like somebody took a baseball bat up to the side of her head. Or maybe that's a contour. Pretty hard to tell. I'm gonna go with baseball bat wound. Whoever Miss Jenner is, I'm sure she's totally flattered by this beautiful piece of fan art. It's kind of like a fun little what-if scenario. You know, what if my mother drank a lot more while she was pregnant? Number 8. Speaking of people that probably shouldn't be famous, here's a bad picture of some guy called Louis Tomlinson. Let's see, says here he's a member of One Direction, but in this picture he looks like a hobbit with a meth problem. Maybe this is what the guy actually looks like, though. For all I care about One Direction, he may actually be a two-dimensional drawing that has grids all over his face. Look at that expression. He looks like he's about to ask you for a cigarette. According to some magazine, Jennifer Aniston was voted the world's sexiest woman, but this portrait isn't very flattering. Everything about this drawing has failed. The tones, the proportions, the strange gray teeth which seem to be flying all over the paper. I sincerely hope this artist still has their day job, because this picture's inexplicably terrible. I'm Jennifer Aniston, give me a big old kiss. Words are a tricky mistress when you're a kid, and it can be easy to misconstrue one word for another when they're all pretty new to you. One boy was told that appendix was another word for testicles. So every time he heard about someone having to get their appendix removed, he was horrified. Those poor ballless bastards. And when he heard about a girl having her appendix removed, he thought that girls have balls too. And all of this wasn't cleared up until he saw his first porn mag in his teens. They should have gave him some transvestite porn, just to keep the joke rolling till his first date.
Lacey, I kinda like you, a lot, and I was wondering if you would go to prom with me. I'll let you put your balls in my mouth.
Oh man, the Tumblerinas aren't gonna like that one. Trigger warning! Can I get a trigger warning here? Some very special people might not like this joke! Bodily functions are another mysterious subject for the kiddos, especially farts. One poor kid believed that if you held in a fart for too long, it would combine with the other farts over time and you would eventually explode, which is a terrifying prospect for a polite or shy child. Every time he had to rip one out, he thought he had to expel it immediately, like a fart demon, or else blam, the entire family would be incinerated. That's a pretty huge responsibility for a little kid. But I'm guessing when he ripped out an anal bagel, he looked at his dad and said,
I'm doing this because I love you, Daddy.
When some kids go out on Halloween, they either get candy or something not edible. Some kids have gotten treats such as crayons, stickers, erasers, and even socks. The kids who came to this house got something edible but far from sweet. Fucking pickles! How many kids want pickles as Halloween treats? The note asks the trick-or-treaters to only take one. Don't worry about that, homeowners. Kids aren't greedy when it comes to shrunken cucumbers soaked in dill and vinegar. Number 2. A lot of dog owners enjoy dressing their poochies in costumes for Halloween. Some are good, some are bad, and some are downright psychotic. Some also fail, like this one. Not sure if the T-Rex is supposed to be eating the dog or humping him. The dog even has a "Help me" expression on his face. Grandma, I don't care if you're dead. Get ready to dance! Seriously though, this Indonesian ethnic group have a festival every year where they dig up their dead relatives. The Toraja people believe that death isn't the instantaneous end to life that we think it is. So they take their loved ones out of their coffins, brush off the dust and maggots, and hang out just like old times. So what if Pop Pop can't chug a beer like he used to and Gran's arm just fell off? Get a staple gun, plunk that shit back on, we're gonna have a party. Death isn't the end of your humiliation. That'd just be too easy. Let's do jello shots out of Grandma's eye sockets. Emerson and his girlfriend recently welcomed a pet guinea pig into their family. As any pet owner knows, they can be noisy little critters. Anyway, next time Emerson and his girlfriend were having sex, he could feel that he was getting close to climaxing. Because he'd heard it so much, he suddenly blurted out, "Wee, wee, wee," like a reflex. It made his girlfriend laugh so hard that they had to stop for a few minutes. This gave Emerson time to recover his stamina, which did extend their session. Now it's become their sexual tradition. Whenever he's about to climax, he whacks to give her a fair warning. Number 11. All his adult life, Jacob had some pretty conservative lovers. So the first time he slept with his current girlfriend, he was a little taken aback when she asked him to put your belt around my neck and walk me like a dog. He hadn't had any BDSM experience before, so it was quite a shock. I wonder if he has to take her outside when she scratches the door and pick up after her. Writers, what the fuck? Microsoft again? I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. On March 23rd, 2016, they unleashed Tay, a highly intelligent Twitter bot that could communicate and learn speech patterns from its fellow Twitter users. Less than a day later, Tay had transformed from a sweet and curious AI to a Skynet-fueled neo-Nazi. By chatting with other Twitter users, Tay learned how to use crude slang and became interested in drugs and Nazism. After going renegade and spamming its followers with useless tweets, Microsoft killed Tay. It's kinda sad they had to put her down, but I guess that's what happens when you trust the internet to train your AI. That's it for this countdown. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Unless they replace me with an AI. I'm looking at you, Ladybot. Having the N-word appear in a film is probably not a super good idea if you want to avoid censorship. Especially if it's crucial to the plot. In Die Hard with a Vengeance, a terrorist holds the city of New York hostage. His first demand, have Bruce Willis go to downtown Harlem wearing a sign that says, "I hate..." Sounds like a YouTube social experiment. Naturally, some African-American hoods don't take kindly to this. Luckily, Samuel L. Jackson shows up to save his ass. Anyway, in the TV edit, the sign was changed to the much less offensive, "I hate everybody," making the whole thing look more than just a little silly. I can tell you right now, a sign that mediocre is not gonna get you 10 million views on YouTube. Though I would go pay to see a movie where Bruce Willis takes down Joey Salads. In 2014, a man from Utah got a very spooky surprise while digging in his backyard. He was trying to dig out a small pond when his shovel unexpectedly struck something hard. When he took a closer look, he discovered ancient human remains. Naturally, this creeped the man out, so he called the police right away. After determining this wasn't a recent murder, the police sent the bones away for testing. It turned out they were the bones of a Native American man who lived roughly 1,000 years ago. The pond project had to be placed on hold until the matter was properly dealt with. Can you imagine having a stranger's remains in your yard? Oh boy, that would be weird. I can't imagine that at all. It sure would explain any supernatural occurrences around your home. If you got any toast flying around in your kitchen, you might want to have your backyard excavated. Sorry, alligator couple, but you've been outdone. Julianne Taylor thought her 9-year-old son was lying when he said, "Mommy, there's a cheetah in the garden and it's eating my bike." To be fair, she had a good reason to doubt him. He's a British child. Oh, also, the cheetah population in Cambridgeshire, England is exactly 0. But sure enough, when she looked out of the kitchen window, she saw her son wasn't joking or exaggerating. It turned out the fully grown big cat had escaped from the nearby Hamerton Zoo and was taking a leisurely stroll through the neighborhood. Julie gave the zoo a call and the keepers arrived as soon as they could. They trapped the cheetah in the family stable before transporting it back to the zoo. Apparently, there had been a technical issue with the enclosure, but the zookeeper said the cheetah was totally tame and that Julie and her son were in no real danger. Say that to the kid's bicycle. Oh, also the cheetah population in Cambridgeshire. England is being Really, Cambridgeshire? How much more fucking British can you get?
Hello, I'm from Cambridgeshire. There's a cheetah in my backyard, there is. Can you send Sherlock Holmes to my house to fight off the cheetah?
Parents love seeing their children come home come Christmas time, especially when they're all grown up and don't get a chance to see them otherwise. The reason they get so excited about seeing their adult children at Christmas or any other holiday is to know what's new in their life. Did they get that promotion? Do they have a significant other? Did they have a child? Well, this one woman, a Reddit user, definitely didn't have the latter because she got a pregnancy test kit for Christmas. Given the context or lack thereof, we have no idea to know why the mother gave her a pregnancy test kit. Probably just a passive-aggressive way for her mother to tell her that she wants a grandchild, and soon! Provide me offspring worthy of the family name! Alright, ladies, you're single and on the prowl for Mr. Right. You see a handsome stud and you want that D, but how do you get that D? What do? You bite your lips seductively, of course, but how do you do that? How do you bite your lips so seductively that the D shoots out of his pants and right into your hungry hands? WikiHow has you covered. From prepping your mouth to the actual act of biting your lip, seductively of course, it's all there. WikiHow explains in detail how to bite your lip without coming across as a psycho. The article even goes on to say how to make eye contact without staring. Of course, you could start with a simple hello, but that's not seductive, is it? What if he thinks your hello's not sexy? Oh god, you'll lose it, you'll lose the D, oh no. Hurry, bite your lip, bite it harder, bite it harder. No, where are you going? I'm not a psycho, I'm not a psycho. If you want to exact revenge on someone who just pressed all the buttons on an elevator and made you late to your appointment, you can. All you gotta do is place a curse on the prankster. But how? Or perhaps you should ask WikiHow. God damn it, Dirk. This is assuming you believe that curses are real, of course. A method the article seems to recommend is the curse jar. The idea is that you put a doll or other representation of the person you curse into a clean jar and start using items such as pins to inflict harm on your victim. If I put this script into a jar and light it on fire, I wonder if Derek will feel it. Now for another entry on this list where the actual firing was crazy, not what the employee did. If an employee doesn't do his or her job, then chances are they'll get the dreaded pink slip. South Florida lifeguard Thomas Lopez found himself fired one day for doing his job. He was at his post when a beachgoer rushed to his post saying a man was drowning, so he jumped down and ran over to save him. Well, Lopez still ended up getting fired because the man he saved was outside his coverage zone, even though another lifeguard was watching his post. After the man was saved, Lopez's supervisor fired him right on the spot. Despite how ridiculous the firing was, the company offered Lopez's job back, but Lopez declined, saying he wanted to instead focus on his education.
The firing. Despite how ridiculous the firing was, the company offered Lopez his job back, but Lopez declined, saying he wanted to instead focus on his education.
Blah, 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 blah. Too many fucking words. Jesus. Valentine's Day, the time of year of romantic dinners and cheesy lines written on greeting cards. This person decided to forgo a greeting card and possibly romantic dinner and just write the cheesy love line on the inside of a box of chicken nuggets. Though I do know a few people who would much rather have McNuggets than a greeting card, this entire idea would still probably make a few people groan and roll their eyes. Hey, for some, it might even be putting across a message, hey, Porkins, I know you love some fatty fried treats, have some nuggies. I show my affection for you and fatty fried treats because that's all you think about, you fat piece of shit. Number 1 was submitted by me, Hellbent. One week I was extremely busy. I didn't have enough time to get any of my work done and I really needed some help. So I asked Pringle, Doopy, Dolan, the whole entire crew, but nobody could lend me a hand. So in a rush, I got everything I needed to do that week done. I'm talking 30-hour days, 2 hours of sleep a night, which are more like naps now that I think about it. But point is, I got shit done. With the final piece of work being this countdown right here. And with this finally finished, fuck all of you, I'm going to sleep!